Good afternoon. My name is Wanda de Suaico Avila. I'm the Executive Director of La Familia Unida. We're a counseling program in the Little Village area of Chicago, Illinois. We've been in the Little Village area for over 20 years, and every month, once a month, we've been providing our program of domestic violence hotline, mostly in Spanish, but once in a while we get a treat to be able to do an interview, and today we have a special guest, Liza Oliva, that I'll be talking a little bit more about in a minute. I just wanted to take a few minutes to be able to just kind of highlight for a minute our special month that has come up for us, those of us who work in the domestic violence field. It is October, and October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and so we want to make sure that we highlight the information about domestic violence awareness. First and foremost, that if you are ever concerned that someone is mistreating you or someone is being mistreated, you need any more information, the City of Chicago has a domestic violence hotline, which is on the screen, 1-877-863-6338, and the National Domestic Violence Hotline for the United States. So if you're not in Chicago, you're online, you're watching our show, please, feel free to call in. Also, the number will be in the bottom of the screen in a minute. But if you have any questions about domestic violence, intimate partner abuse, and any issues regarding family violence, please call either number. Also, this 1-800-799-7233. For this month of October, there are many domestic violence awareness events across the city of Chicago and nearby suburbs. If you just look up the City of Chicago Domestic Violence Coalition Against Domestic Violence, they also have a list calendar of events, and also share information with others about domestic abuse. Our videos of our monthly show are on YouTube, and anytime that you need resources in English or in Espanol, feel free to look us up. I'll give more information at the end of our program. So today we have a very special guest, and her name is Liza Oliva, and she is a co-founder of Simply Destinge Youth Center in Aurora. And so we're going to talk about her program, why we brought her here today, of course, and you can call the number at the bottom of the screen if you have any questions in English or en español. Feel free. Normalmente este programa está en español, pero vamos a hacer la entrevista en inglés. Yo creo que sería igual de más fácil para las dos, pero si tiene preguntas en español, están bienvenidos a llamar al 312-738-1060. So you're more than welcome to call in either language. Hi, Liza.
Hi, Wanda.
It's so great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
So could you please tell our viewers about Simply Destinge, how it was founded, and who are the founders of the organization, and what your programming does?
Well, Simply Destinge is a not-for-profit dance team and youth center that's based in Aurora, and we started back in about 2012. In 2010, I lost my 16-year-old daughter, Destiny, to suicide. And at that time, my brother was working as a choreographer for like Sweet 15s, quinceañeras, stuff like that, weddings. And so he was working with a lot of kids. And the biggest thing that he noticed is he kept saying, there's a need, there's a lot of kids that were struggling in silence and things like that, or didn't feel like they had anyone to go to. So we used dance as a way to teach the kids to learn to express themselves in more positive ways. Mm-hmm. So when we first started the program, when he first started the program, he started out with 6 kids. And we call them the original 6. And basically, it was just to give them a place to come to be, themselves, to not be judged, to just be accepted for who they were. And then as the program progressed, there have been years where we've had up to 130 kids in our program. And basically what we do is we do teach them dance, and this last year, we incorporated art as well. But the biggest thing is to just give them a place where they can be themselves. We focus mainly on the community area where we're at, which is in Aurora. But we have a lot of people come from all over. And while we're teaching the dance, we're also teaching them social and emotional skills. So then those are ways that they can learn to better communicate what is going on in their life.
So that brings up a question that, that comes up. I think you have a program that utilizes this platform to work with kids and their age range.
So we have two groups, 7 to 12, which is where we focus on anti-bullying. And then we have kids 13 and up, which is where we focus more on the suicide awareness.
Okay, all right. I'm just keeping my eye just in case you get a caller. Now, my understanding is you don't have a social services background.
No.
And neither does your brother.
No.
And so it sounds that there is a passion to not only do prevention of suicide, but also because of the children, what is it that most satisfies you in having contact with these families?
Well, when we first started, we focused a lot on the kids, and we felt that was where our need was. But what we realized throughout the years is that it's not just affecting the kid, it's affecting the family as a whole. And so what we realized is a lot of families don't have access to resources. They don't know where to go, they don't know who to ask for help, or they're in a situation and they just don't know, like, is this normal, is this not normal? So those are the things that now we focus on. So we don't have a social services background, but it's more about making sure that no other family is going through what we go through on a daily basis.
So, keeping in mind, the contact with the children, with, the youth and the families, do you ever come across situations of the children or the family in crisis that reach out to you for advice or for guidance?
A lot of the families now know that they can come to us with whatever it is that they're facing and not be judged, and just understand that whatever it is that they think they're going through alone, there's so many other people going through the same thing. Mm-hmm. And when we encounter those situations, we say, what is it that you need? And if they say, I need a therapist, or I need, whatever the case may be, okay, let's find you the resources to get you the help that you need.
So do you partner with local community organizations as well, and kind of see, okay, what do you do, and kind of have contacts as well?
Yeah, because, for example, there's a family that, might have boys, and there's a local boxing club by us, and they focus on the social emotional as well. So if, we ask them, what is it that you want to do? Maybe dancing's not for them, because they're, that's a big thing with the boys, is boys don't dance. So
boys can dance.
Well, we say they can. We say they can, but some might not feel comfortable. So we ask them, what is it that you want to do? Some might say, I want to do soccer. I want to do boxing. I want to do... Okay, let's figure out who we can reach out to get you into a program. Mm-hmm. So maybe they come in through our doors and, say, hey, this is what's going on. But the reality is they may, want something else. And we're okay with that as long as they're getting help.
Mm-hmm. So, So how does the routine go? Do they have classes and then they prepare for events? Is that how it pretty much works out? Or
Yeah, so a lot of it is, so they come in 2 times a week to practice. They learn new dances. And a lot of it, because a lot of people say, oh, dance can't solve everything. It's not meant to solve everything. It's meant to teach them skills. It's meant to teach them self-confidence, self-acceptance. You know, there's kids that come in and they're like, I just don't feel comfortable. And then you give them a few months and they meet other people, they make friends, they like what they're doing, and then all of a sudden they're like a social butterfly and, you know, they want to be in the front dancing. And so people may not take that as a big step, but for some of these kids that are in crisis, that is a huge step because they're stepping out of whatever it is that they're in at that moment. So we focus on teaching them that, you know, there's going to be bad days. Life is going to throw you curves. But we want to make sure that when those curves do come along, that you're able to just be like, okay, I have the skills that I need to be able to cope with whatever it is that we're going through.
so please tell our audience your motto that you have as the saying that your organization has and how that came about.
So is music saved my life. And the reason that we say that, my daughter Destiny, when she passed, she loved to sing. She would get on stages anywhere. She had no fear. That was her passion. And my brother was teaching dance at the time that she passed. And growing up, my mom, Saturday mornings, cleaning the house, music full blast. So it was like music was always a key piece in our life. And if you read articles and everything, they say that music helps. It's like a therapy. Mm-hmm. So we use that as our focus, like music saved my life, because so many times nowadays everybody's just focusing on the negative. Well, we want to focus on the good stuff in life. So, you know, we celebrate birthdays, we use music, we use art, you know, things like that are upbeat and lifting to get the kids to understand that life goes on. You know, and it's hard to say that as a mom who's lost a child, but it's the truth. Life goes on, and a lot of these kids that are thinking suicide is the answer, it's not, because it leaves total devastation behind. You know, and so that's what we focus on is like, let's not focus on the negative. Let's focus on you. Let's focus on what we can change, you know, and let's teach you to be the person that you want to be. You know, it's not always going to be about everybody else.
So if it's okay with you, I think kind of touching a bit on the process of grief. When you think of the you know, a lot of the social media and, you know, kind of internet has a different way, or even the way we're socially trained has a different way to see grief, especially regarding the topic of suicide, and it can be taboo in the Latino community, but I think across the board, in many communities, it can be taboo. It's that, you know, topic that you just don't talk about, and makes it even a little bit more difficult sometimes to make that a primary topic. But in the process of grief, which is, you know, I think everybody's own process, how do you feel that this effort to work with the families has assisted you in your grief process?
They've become my second family. You know, I've attended different conferences, and they always say volunteering is like a way to help with grief and healing. And there's days where I could just be like, oh, I'm done, because I feel the same feelings like everybody else feels. But I can go in there and see the kids laughing, smiling, they give you hugs, we celebrate birthdays, like so many different things that you see and you're like, life isn't that bad, you know? And so it's a healing for me as well, because I feel like I'm not alone. And to sit here and see all these families, not all of them, but like a majority of families going through crisis, it's kind of like I can be that person for them to lean on when things get rough. And I don't feel that I had that when I was going through some of my stages. I had a lot of friends, but it's hard. Grief is a very hard process in itself. And if people don't understand, they may shun themselves away from you, and they kind of feel like, oh, there's something wrong with that person. And we don't want to focus on those things. So, even within the kids, if they've lost grandparents, they've lost family members, and we tell them it's okay to cry, it's okay to feel, it's okay to acknowledge what you're going through, but we want to make sure that whatever you're doing is going to keep you moving forward. We don't want to focus just on all the trauma and the grief and all those things, because those tend to send our kids into a different direction.
And I think one of the important parts of our discussion today is, and why I invited Liza, is because we came across each other at a training, and you would wonder, okay, you're in Chicago, La Familia Unida, and Simply Destinge is in Aurora, but I think there is a connection, a very important connection, especially in the arts, in creativity, in mental health, and community wellness, that I felt immediately connected with as soon as I heard and then learned more about Simply Destinge. I think, personally, I've been a singer for most of my life, but how art and music have been a profound impact, I think, in me and in my family, and in different reasons, right? And how a lot of it is personal, so some of it you don't really want to share with everybody, and sometimes it's not personal, you wanted the whole world to see. And so, that's, I think maybe that's a process also that a lot of the kids may wonder, oh, I love dancing, but I don't want to perform, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And do you ever come across families that, and because we're talking about domestic violence awareness, that have maybe had the experience of exposure to abuse, been abused or been exposed to, abuse in their family, and then they come and they share, maybe just because they blurt it out, because, kids can blurt things out, or they just really need to let it out. How do you respond to that, or how do the other, staff kind of respond to different issues like that?
So we don't really normally give advice, but what we can do is we can support that person through whatever it is they're feeling. And as much as it pains me to say, yes, we've had children that come in and say, I had, a family member do this to me, or my family's going through a divorce situation, or, there's so many different topics that I can think of. But that's where we focus on, is like, okay, we're not here to, we can give you resources, we can give you all those things. We're here to support you, because there's going to be bad days and there's going to be good days. And what we want to focus on is that that whatever it is you're going through, you're not by yourself. And I think a lot of times people don't want to tell their problems, because they feel like, oh, that person's going to make fun of me, or they're going to say something bad about my family or whatever. Especially in the Latin culture, because we tend to keep everything in. But it's just about that awareness piece. Whatever it is you're going through, whether it's domestic violence. I've seen families with situations of just violence in general. And it's a scary thing, because these families really just kind of close everything in, because they feel like, this must not be normal, and I'm the only one that it's happened to. So a lot of times that's what it is we focus on, we're here to support you in that, and whatever it is that you're going through.
So it really feels like the organization is a safe space.
Yes.
And can you kind of describe what that means for you, for the organization as a whole, what safe means, and how that can also be motivating, for the kids to be able to wake up their creativity,
It's a safe space in so many different ways, because we want the kids to come in and feel like this is a family. A community ultimately can be your family.
As you're talking, I'm going to put
Okay. So we focus on, like, what are the things that I'm going through, that you're going through? Let's come together, like a family does. And these kids come in and they feel like, oh, okay, I can just be me here because nobody's going to yell at me. Nobody's going to tell me I'm wrong. Like, and there are situations where we try to say, maybe this isn't the best direction, but let's support you in finding out what is. We have girls that we help with, college and college readiness. And one of the things that I say to, especially to the older girls, is I focus on role models. And the Latin and brown communities, we don't have a lot of role models. Most of our parents are in factories or, just different jobs in general. Not that those are bad jobs, but we want our kids to want more. So just empowering the kids to know that, hey, there's opportunities out there. Hey, there's resources out there. Hey, there's all these things out there. You just got to go out and ask for them.
I saw a documentary some time ago where it said you cannot be what you do not see. And not having that representation out there is what is, like, okay, so do I have to only look out for somebody I've seen or be that person myself, and create that role, but it takes a space to be able to do that. And, it really sounds like Simply Destiny is definitely the place to do that. And so, I put the information for Simply Destiny on your screen. It is in Aurora, so the phone number is 331-643-6001. The email for Liza is loliva73@gmail.com. And Liza, thank you so much. I'm just putting La Familia Unida information back up there for a sec. Remember, we're in the Little Village area of Chicago, Illinois, at 3047 West Cermak Road on the 3rd floor, 773-522-7798. And so, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For this conversation. Very humbling, but very informative and super motivating for not only for our children, but for our youth, for our families, to be able to definitely have a space where they feel safe, that they get informed. And, again, don't forget to look up our video again on YouTube under La Familia Unida Not-for-Profit Services CAN TV. Have a wonderful rest of the afternoon, and thanks again, Liza.
Thank you.